people, Deluded. I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Against this right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like.
With an introduction like that, what more can I say? I'm joined by Jess, aka She Knows Arsenal. People, Deluded, I'm back again. International break or no international break, we're still getting the content done for you. How are you doing, DG's aunt, apparently? Funny name, choice of name, that, ain't it?
Oh, I'm good. I can't lie. Yeah, I'm ready to get started. What are we even talking about, though?
And we got a decent amount to go over. I want to go over the transfer news. I want to ask you, obviously, on Bayern Munich. I think we spoke about Benjamin White, but Tomiyasu signed a new deal. So, yeah, man, and anything else people got to say in the chat, people. Again, smash the like button. After this, we will be going over to Jess's channel. I think we're going to be joined by Lee. It should be a great one. So make sure you're subscribing, following, and smashing the like button and all of that great stuff. Let's kick it straight off, Jess, really and truly, man. Again, obviously, the last time we spoke, we didn't have a chance to speak about this. What do you make of joining, well, better yet, drawing Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals of the champs?
I mean, it could have been worse. We could have drawn Man City, or I think like Atletico would have been worse because, obviously Simeone's like a really good tactician and he's not going to play football against us. And I feel like the best thing is for like a European competition is we want to be able to like play our game and also like play teams that we don't usually play. So as long as we avoided those two, I felt like, okay, cool. Like Bayern Munich is going to be a difficult tie. Like, I think it's like, I don't know what it is about Arsenal fans, but maybe it's because we haven't been here for a long time. There's like this thing about like, well, they're not doing good domestically, so they're going to be crap against us. No, you guys.
They're bringing their A game, man.
Yeah, I was like, no. And they're going to want to embarrass us like right after the draw. Like Mueller's putting out videos like, oh, Kai, like, it's going to be a difficult tie. So I do think we have to be wary of that, but it's a winnable tie. Like, it's not one that I look at and I'm like, damn, like it's over. Like, it's just going to be difficult, and that's the Champions League. And that's why we want to be in these competitions. So that's how I kind of think of it. What about you?
I mean, before I get into it, I wanted to ask you, just before I forget, you mentioned it's winnable. Why is it winnable?
I feel like it's winnable because we'll get to play our game. Like, I know that people consider Tuchel a real like tactician, but I just don't see Bayern Munich sitting in a low block against us and trying to play anti-football. So I think like as long as we can play our game and the other team decides to play theirs, we have a chance. And I also don't think that they're like, I feel like we're matched up pretty well. I don't think they have the strongest midfield, but they probably have like maybe better attackers marginally. Like I feel like there's give and take there. Yeah, they have Harry Kane and we know Sane can do things and Muzalia is good too. And so I think it's gonna be I think it's as even as a tie can get, if I'm honest. Like I really do think it's very evenly poised really. So that's why I think it's winnable. I think it's winnable mostly because we'll get to play our game.
Do you not feel a bit of concern? Because obviously Mikel Arteta hasn't been here. Whatever me and you have to say about Thomas Tuchel, he's won the competition and been in a final. We haven't been here for a while. It's been about 14 years. So it is a bit of uncharted waters. As we spoke about on your platform, we did very well against Porto in mine and your opinions, but we did show a bit of inexperience. Could that come back to bite us then?
Yes, obviously not having any experience in the competition is definitely something that concerns me. But that being said, like that's why my expectations were just to get to the quarterfinal. Like I don't have like a I don't have like we need to get to the semifinals and get to the final, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's almost like not a free hit for us, but I do think that this is kind of like a learning situation for us.
Learning
So
curve.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like my expectations are just not that high because our experience isn't quite there. Um, so yeah, like and we I feel like if we don't win the penalty shootout against Porto, we're having much different conversations in these weeks about, Arteta's cup competitions and how did he do in Europe. And so it's not like we've seen that massive of an improvement, if we're honest. Uh, but well, at least we have an opportunity to go a little bit further in the competition. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, for me personally, I mean, when you think of Bayern Munich, we all remember the 5-1s, the 10-2s, and things like that. I will
Yeah.
be keen to see how we match up away from home. I'd be keen more than anything, as much as it's a fantastic tactical battle between someone like Thomas Tuchel and Mikel Arteta, and obviously that will play a part. I genuinely believe the Champions League, that plays a part, like I said, but it comes down to fine margins and exploiting the fine margins. And I want to know that we can actually do that. I'm confident about any team in the world, really and truly, at the Emirates. That's not to say we'll win every game, but I just feel the Emirates has become a bit of a fortress. Away from home, generally, we've done okay, but that's probably where disappointments have come from. So I'll be keen to see the psychological factor. I agree with you in that. I think Bayern Munich are a great side. They're definitely better than how they're looking domestically, but I think they can be got at, man. I think the midfield is quite even, not to underestimate them. I think we could definitely score goals, but it's one that the footballing gods have kind of created. You've obviously got Gnabry with his historic ties to Arsenal. Obviously, you've got Harry Kane and Eric Dyer. I disagree that it's a free hit per se. I agree in the sense of, obviously, this is probably the minimum expectations of our football club. But I think Arteta debut season or not, the players, you're kind of there, you're kind of flirting with it. So it'd be a shame if it was to end here. Obviously, we can't look beyond Bayern Munich. We really can't. We need to do our job over the two ties, but potentially Real Madrid and City. Talk to me about that. How do you feel about them? Which team would you rather? Scary business.
Yeah, I mean, it's not nice to be on that side of the draw, is it? Like when you're looking at the other side and you're like, why couldn't we be over there? Because it looks like an easier route to the final. But I don't know. I feel like focus on Bayern first. If we were to get to the point where we're playing against Man City or Real Madrid, I would kind of be a little bit like, okay, cool. Like going out to either one of those teams. I know that people will be like, oh, mediocrity. But going up against either one of those teams and going out isn't like losing to Burnley, So I wouldn't be like devastated going up against either one. But obviously I'd prefer Real Madrid because of what I said earlier. Like, you don't want, like, the whole point of playing in Europe is not playing teams that you play all the time. I genuinely don't want to play Man City 3 more times this season.
Why?
Like, huh?
Why?
Because I just don't. Like, it's not fun. Like, I want to see how we do up against, like, Vinny Jr. and these guys. Like, I want to see that. Like, I'm bored of playing Man City. So, to me, it's more that than anything else. Like, but I feel like both teams present such, like, Man City, we match up weird to them because I feel like both teams are playing chess. Like Arteta and Pep don't want to do too much and it ends up being like a really boring game unless they run us over. Real Madrid is kind of like a unknown quantity. We don't know how we'll match up, but they have the history, so I think I'd rather go with, something that we've never seen before because we know how we play up against Man City. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I don't know. I feel like some people are like, maybe it just sounds like accepting mediocrity, but like I just only expected us to get to the quarterfinals. So I'm like not really that like fussed about it. I mean, are you fussed about it? Like I feel like maybe you're fussed about it.
Just once you're in this competition, I don't think there is a side that should be taken lightly. Of course, when the draw was made initially with Bayern Munich, I think everyone wanted Borussia Dortmund, which can't be slept on. But at this stage in the competition, everybody's scary. Again, I remember Manchester City in my primary school days. I couldn't see them being a team like this. You being significantly older than me have obviously seen the rise that they've done.
Okay.
I had to get in, man, because I know once I go over to your channel, it's peak for me, so I need to get them in, man. But no, man, like Real Madrid's Real Madrid. I'm more confident against Manchester City. It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. We've played them before and whatnot. I think Real Madrid's a team that you could be winning 2-0 in the 89th minute and somehow you've lost 3-2. So it's quite scary, but we're in it to win it, Jess, man, allegedly. Like, so at this point, I don't mind.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't be like I don't want to win it, or it's like, okay, that we just go out there and get smashed or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, when you go up against teams that have been there and done it before, literally, if we go up against Real Madrid or Man City, they both won the Champions League before. I just feel as though, like, I can't be that, like, I'm not going to be as stressed as I am going to be for the Premier League. Like, I'm actually more stressed out about the Premier League than this. Like, that's where I feel like, yeah, I am. I'm much more stressed out about the Premier League because I just feel like there's 10 games left. We're playing up against so many rivals, Chelsea, Man United.
Target on our back, yeah.
Yeah, and all they have to play for basically is to try to stop us from doing something. So that actually worries me more because I expect us to beat those teams. But first time back in the competition, I'm a little bit more relaxed about the Champions League and, you know, just hoping that it goes well. And the Porto thing was just so stressful that I'm just like, I can't go stressed again. But I feel like once we start the game against Bayern, then I'll be like, you must beat them. Because then there's like the Kane factor and, you know, he's going to get his dodgy pen. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a lot.
100%.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm a bit nervous as well, because obviously things are going well. I don't look at the league table, but as you said, we've got 10 games left. We're through to the next round in dramatic fashion, but I don't know who's going to be fit, who is going to stay fit, what our form is going to dictate. What I would say is this is what we prayed for. This is what our Mikel Arteta is building for. This is the scenarios we wanted to be in, going to the latter stages of the Premier League season, trying to win. So let's get it done, really and truly. Would you rather win the Prem or the Champs? Because basically of what you just said, I take a guess to say you're probably more optimistic about the Prem than the Champs. But which one would you rather win if you could pick? Well, and you can't say both, obviously.
I'm more stressed out about the Premier League because I feel like that there's more expectation for us to do better in that competition. That's why I'm more stressed out. But if I had to choose one or the other, I'd rather win the Champions League because we've never won it before. And I'm tired of hearing that. So
trust me.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that's the difference, is like, there's literally no expectation of us to do anything in the Champions League from anybody because we haven't, you know, we're not really like a European giant, but we are like a domestic, like we should be getting close to winning the Premier League. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at, but you have to, like, at some point we have to get over this not winning the Champions League nonsense. Like, I just feel like it's a real like black mark on our like
100%
credentials of being like a massive team. And so, yeah, like if you look at it, you could say that, like, let's say things don't go as well as we would have hoped in the Premier League. Like, let's say in a couple of games, it's not looking good. I feel like you kind of have to throw everything at the Champions League at that point, you know, because then it's like, what, 4 games until you get to Wembley. So yeah, there might need to be some, like, you know, decisions made, but like the Champions League would be it. You agree, right?
I'd rather win the Champs. I think we're more likely to win the Prem. I don't think we're going to win either. You know, with 10 games left, as you kind of alluded to, we've gone from doing the hunting to being the hunted. Like, we've got a target on our backs. Hopefully the boys have kind of learned from the last 2 seasons where it's ended poorly. But as you said, man, we've got the North London derby. We've got Chelsea. We've got to play City in our next Premier League game. And there's a lot of other twists. So it's down to the boys. You've worked so hard. You went to the Bayern, did what you're doing. You had your goals set out in August. So you just got to go out and do something, because one thing that annoys me about the last 2 seasons is that I think we've been great. I think there's been reasons to be optimistic as Arsenal fans and whatnot. But if we look back 20 years from now, there's nothing etched in history to say how good we've been. And that's where we need to move into, in my humble opinion. What do you make of Mikel Arteta specifically in the latter stages then? Because obviously he's got over the Porto tie. Historically in the Europa League, he has kind of struggled in the latter stages. He is a bit of he is a quarterfinals Champions League virgin, with the greatest of respect. What do you make of him and his temperament and his tactics going into this?
I feel like with Mikel, I just don't feel like he maybe modifies his tactics enough when we go into cup competitions to win them. Like, I feel like that's why like Moyes is good in the cup competitions, because like they play cup football, you know, very
they won the Conference League.
No, not like that, but like even if you just watch them play, like I think that, you know, you have to change your tactics a little bit. Like, we play very like the way that we play in the Premier League doesn't necessarily always suit cup competitions. We can't be so like patient all the time and like trying to play our patterns. Like sometimes you have to be more direct and, use your counterattacking and maybe play a different formation or something like that. And I feel like we kind of go into every single game quite similarly, and it doesn't work the same in cups. It just doesn't, So I feel like what I'd like to see from Mikel is like maybe, some more tactical flexibility. And like we know he can do it because like when his first year, like he won the FA Cup by playing like very terrible football, but we won. And I would like to see a little bit more of that. I think that I don't know what he's like in the cup competitions for real, because we just haven't been that great. We go out so early. So it's going to be interesting to see how he lines up against Bayern, what his tactical like situation is against Tuchel. But I'm worried a little bit just because like early indications for me are like, unless we're desperate to win the cup like we were in the first year, because that's the only way that we could get into European competition, there's not enough flexibility to me, in the way that we approach the game. Sometimes you can't play your way all the time. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more pragmatic. And I don't know. It just feels like we're like, okay, we're just going to play like when we were playing against Porto, we were so like, everything was so patient. And so like, we have time. And I'm like, we don't have time. We need to go score this
You
goal.
talking about the home leg or the away leg? Or
Both. I felt
I
like
think you're
we were
being
just
quite
like,
harsh, man. I think personally it's more psychological than anything. I do agree generally that he could be a bit more flexible, but I actually feel it wasn't pretty in the second leg, but I actually was impressed by the temperament of the players, because you just can't go out there and be gun-ho. First leg, I agree in that it looked like we needed a plan B. I think a bit of that was because Kai Havertz is playing in midfield and you've got Kiwior playing as a left back. And obviously in the build-up play, that is not going to happen. And we had no way to counteract Porto's game. But could you argue, is this the moment in the season, on paper, we've got 12 games left, so 12 cup finals. Yes, you could change things, but is this the right moment to try new things and try this widespread flexibility we're both speaking on?
I feel like my whole thing is like, it's not about trying new things. I feel like we should have those things already. We should be practicing those things already. I feel like we should know what our setup is and like how to change the game mid-game. So if we're if we're trying to figure out things now, then I'm kind of like, what have we been doing all season? Because we know that Arteta, like, we practice a lot of things before they actually happen, like our set pieces and throw-ins and stuff like that. So why wouldn't we practice another way of like beating teams? So I don't expect him to like, I'm not saying just throw the book out. I'm just saying there has to be like other ways of going more direct, or other ways of opening up these mid blocks or whatever. I know you don't believe in the mid block as much as I do, and like the deep blocks and like our inability to get beyond them. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about it. I feel like we're very like, this is the way we're going to play, and we're not going to change it at all. And sometimes I feel like we could do a little bit something different. That's just me though.
I mean, I'm with you. I slightly disagree with the low blocks comments and mid blocks. I think we're finding a way to do that. I'm all for us finding other ways to do such. But I just think at this stage, it's about he's taking you to the water. The players need to drink, if I'm completely honest, not to absolve Mikel Arteta of anything. What do you make of Tomiyasu signing a new deal?
I think so I know some people were like mad about it because they're like, he's injury prone. Why would you give him a new deal?
How can people be mad about that? It's Tomiyasu, Japanese Swiss Army knife.
I think it's because like he's just not. There's just certain players that I just don't think people like as much or something. Like, I don't know. It's like
Tomiyasu's got haters. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, but some players can be injury prone and no one cares as much. And then like there's somebody like him and they're like, get rid, So I'm like, okay. But they gave him a new contract until 2026, I think, with the option to extend, which is much different than the deal that Ben White got, which is until 2028. And I think, and also Ben White is older by at least 2 years in Tomiyasu. So I feel like just that in itself tells you kind of how they view the two players and the differences in what their role is in the team. Like Tomiyasu is very much so somebody that I feel like Arteta likes, but we also have to find out whether or not he has the ability to maintain a level of fitness that, we can rely upon. And so I don't have an issue with this at all. Like, I feel like you have to maintain his value. You have to keep his, contract fresh. And if we were to sell, he needs to have a couple of years on his deal. But
Right.
I don't think we should be looking to sell to Tommy right now anyway, because he's just so useful to us as a squad man. And that's what I think he is. I think he is a squad player, a really good one, like a Trossard type, So I think of him differently as players that are supposed to be starting that are injury prone, because it's kind of like, well, he's not a starter, but he does have to figure out a way to maintain his fitness. And I wonder if maybe his body is basically saying like, I can't run up and down the sideline as much. I don't know, because it's like when he's with Japan, he's fine. He's playing center back. Maybe he just can't do what Ben White can do running up and down the sideline. It's different for a center back. So can Arsenal manage him better? Maybe. Is he just corrupt? I don't know. But I think the deal makes sense. And it doesn't mean that you're trying to keep him forever. Some players, it's just to maintain the value. And I think that that's important.
I'm with you with that. I think you've given him a new deal as a good reward. He's probably not that I know how much he gets paid or necessarily care, but considering when he's joined to the part he kind of plays when fit, it's probably a reward for financially what he deserves. I like him a lot, whether he's on the bench to close out games, whether he's playing as an inverted fullback, or just generally the competition when everyone's fit to have Benjamin White, Timber, Tomiyasu, Kiwior with his form. I know many people don't like Zinchenko, but Zinchenko is a great option and is probably the poster boy of inverted fullbackness where it comes to Arsenal. So I'm all for it. And as you said, and as I've kind of said, his versatility is crazy. Like, he's a Japanese Swiss Army knife. I do agree with your point that I think his deal kind of reflects the availability. It protects his resale value. It gives him a positive, something, because he deserves it, but he can't stay fit. Unfortunately, when you mention Arsenal and injuries, it's probably, if not him, it's Thomas Partey. And the best trait you could have is being available. And we're going to need him. We've got 12 cup finals at this moment in time. I always say we've got Bayern Munich twice. We've got 10 Premier League games. We're going to need Tomiyasu in some capacity. Right now, if fit and when fit, and I think we've played QPR in a friendly and he's played, I don't know if he'll walk into the squad against City, but whether it's City, Spurs, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, we need this individual. And I'm keen to see how he keeps developing, if I'm honest. What else have we got here? Tomiyasu hasn't gone off with Japan, which is also very good. What do you make of Gokieres? Because apparently he's our top target. Apparently Sporting actually want to give him a new deal and raise his minimum release clause to 120 million euros, which kind of puts it near the Osimhen kind of category.
Yeah, I feel like he's an interesting one, because I do feel like a lot of people that watch the Premier League have a very poor vision of teams outside of the top 5 leagues. And it's I just feel like there's an undercurrent of we plays for Sporting, so he's shit, and I'm just I don't feel like that's the truth. I feel like his path is unorthodox, and it's not something that, going from the championship to Sporting is not that normal. And so it's hard to gauge whether or not what he's doing in Portugal, which is amazing, how that would, adapt or cross over to the Premier League. When I watch him with my eyes, he looks phenomenal. With my eyes, I'm like, that guy looks so serious, but he's not. I feel like some people also have a vision of the Arsenal striker being taller, faster, things like that. So for me, I think he'd be a great option. I like that he's not a child. I don't think every single player that we buy needs to be 19. I feel like it's weird that somebody that's 25 is too old.
But he's too old. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm that's just, I don't understand that. I actually don't think we need any more youth in this team, if I'm honest with you. But it's all up to the club to figure out whether or not what he's doing in Portugal is actually going to, translate over to the Prem. If you
100%.
look Bruno Fernandes, Darwin Nunez, Paulinho, all these guys, they come from the Portuguese league and they do well here. So I feel like, is the Portuguese league really that bad? Somebody else will have to tell me, but he looks like a serious striker. And I do feel like if he ends up in the Premier League, which he could have ended up in the Premier League this season had he had not decided to go to Sporting, I do feel like people would have a different vision of him. Like if he was at a West Ham or, whatever club.
Didn't link with them.
yeah, if he had 20 goals this season, I feel like people would want him badly, but because he's in Portugal, they just can't see it. So I know that people talk about the release clause too. You can always negotiate outside the release clause. I don't, we all know that. Even if you were to get Osimhen, you wouldn't have to pay the release clause. Like, you just have to pay a lot. So I like him. I've already said that on my channel so many times, and I think he looks really good. What do you think?
I've done a video on him, man. I can't pretend to know this guy religiously, but from, his development, from what he's been doing at youth level to what he's done at Coventry to the way he plays, I'm a big fan of him. Do I know if he's going to be a success? Of course not. I think when you look at what Mikel Arteta wants from a striker, evidently strikers need to score goals, but I think people need to strip the layers back. It's about the pressing, the dropping deep, somewhat being selfless to allow Saka and Martinelli to exploit spaces. And I think he's very intelligent. I think he knows how to win fouls. I think he works the channels well. Of course, respectfully to him, while he's doing great at Sporting Lisbon, it is only one season, and that is obviously the monkey on his back that who knows. But I would say, what striker doesn't present a risk? Osimhen is the messiah in everybody's eyes. We don't know if that's going to work. We don't know if Vlahovic would work. Many people don't think Tony would work, and people don't think the same with Gutierrez. Where would he rank on your tier of striker targets then?
Probably,
I know he's ahead of Tony.
Tony's not even on the list. Probably number one, to be honest. Like, if we're looking,
don't Osimhen no more.
I mean, Osimhen, my biggest thing with him is he's injury prone, and it's something about that irritates the hell out of me. So if you already know that somebody's going to be unable to maintain the fitness, why would I want him? But if Isak and Osimhen were not injury prone, they'd be ahead of him. But they both are injury prone, so I can't do it, but he'd probably be number one because I just see less red flags, and I like him as a player. Like, I like that he has a well-roundedness to his game, and I feel like the ball striking, knowing where the goal is, being able to link play with his teammates, pressing, working hard, selfless, all those things. I know some people have said he's like Jesus, and I'm like, does Jesus strike the ball like that? Does Jesus score goals like that? They're nothing alike, So I feel like, and I guess I'll ask you this question: do we need somebody that's different than what we have, or a better version of the center forward that we play now?
Ideally, if Gabriel Jesus could score goals, we don't have this conversation, and we're not talking on the stream about that. So that would be it. But I would say you need something different. There's been points this season where I felt we needed someone who's a bit taller, who not only could be more of a threat from aerial duels and set pieces, but as you know, when you've got a hold up, man, like I look back to Anfield last season when Gabriel Jesus came off for Trossard. Now Trossard is a good false nine, but and I guess Havertz kind of brought what I'm saying, but when he came off and Trossard came on, it's a mismatch between him and Van Dijk in games. Not that there's been many, and the better we get and the more possession-based we get and dominant we get, we're going to have less situations like that. But there's been times where I would love a striker. We can just hit it into their chest. There were win fouls. We get further up the field. I would like someone a bit different. I mean, I'm a fan of Gutierrez. I would not mind Benjamin Sesko, especially because of his release clause. And I think he's like a blank canvas for Arteta, but he does have a significant level of inexperience in comparison to him. I share your thoughts. If Isak wasn't injured, I'm all for Isak. But again, injuries are one thing. Whether Newcastle will deal with us is another. I want to go completely off topic before we get back on these transfers. Miles, I apologize. I left your question up there for a while. Question to you both. If you get knocked out to Bayern, God forbid, do you think it would have a mental knock on us in the league? I believe so, but I would simply say get on with it, really and truly. There's no time to dwell. It could get worse if you feel sorry for yourself. That's me personally.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like, can I see this team just rolling on? No. I feel like they would have a little bit of like a lull, but they don't have the luxury of doing that. They need to get used to this. Like, this is the requirement. And so like, there can't be a 3-game loss situation where you go out to Bayern and then you lose your next 2 Prem games, go out of the title race. And then, when we're playing Everton on the last game of the season, we beat them 5-0, but we're all sad and shit because we haven't won anything.
Ramsdale farewell tour.
Yeah. So I think so. Knowing these players and knowing this team, I feel like there would be a little bit of like oh my gosh, we went out. But
I disagree,
I think they will feel a little sorry for themselves.
I mean, naturally, from a human point of view, you're going to feel sorry for yourself. But I do think we've reacted generally well to setbacks and when things have gone wrong. And I do think these players are getting into that scenario where if we win, great. If we lose, it is what it is. And I think when you listen to these players post-game, they kind of reflect that really and truly. I do agree. Naturally, if you go out of the Champions League or whatever, if you went out of the Premier and you're still in the champs, you're going to feel sorry for yourself. But life keeps spinning, it keeps going on. And if we want to be that club, then how we react to setbacks is going to have to change, which I think has been the case. What do you make of this? I mean, we kind of allude to this anyways, but apparently the Standard is saying Arsenal are set to target 4 players in the summer transfer window, a top-level forward, a new midfielder, a new defender, and obviously, because Ramsdale's days are numbered, likely a new goalkeeper.
Listen, this is so interesting to me because when you say a top-level forward, this is where I'm starting to get into the feeling that we're going to get one of a winger or a striker, not both, which presents a little bit of like a, oh shit, because also like Arsenal are very flexible and they do what they want to do, period. Like I know a lot of Arsenal fans are like desperate for a striker. I can see a scenario where we buy a winger instead. Genuinely, I can. Because Havertz, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. In terms of like a new midfielder, I feel like both of us really do agree, like there needs to be a big midfield signing and it ain't Onana from Everton. Like you need to go get somebody fucking for real.
You'll never
like,
not throw shades at Onana, but I agree.
Never,
I wouldn't mind him in the squad.
I have an opportunity to throw
Why
some
are you so
shade.
against him? You wouldn't take him in the squad. I don't think he's a level raiser and things, but I do think there's some qualities he could give us generally. But we'd have to sign 2 midfielders in that case.
After seeing like how Jorginho makes us tick a lot better, how could you go out there and make your main signing in midfield be Onana? Like I don't see it. I feel like you need a 6/8 that is just like knows how to play ball. And I think Onana has some great qualities that again would be nice in the squad, but only used in certain circumstances, which would make us have to rely on Jorginho a lot more. And he is 45, so it's kind of like
almost as old as you.
I know, exactly.
In fact, now Jorginho's younger, man. Who the hell?
Jorginho is younger than me, which is insane.
Damn.
Yeah, Jorginho is younger than me, which is crazy. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, like I really am old, but looking good though. Looking good.
She's a good sport, man. I wanted to ask you because we kind of touched on it. I agree with what you said about the striker and Arsenal being fluid and you never quite know what they're going to do. While I believe we're looking at a 9, I am starting to believe now. I think obviously if we sign a striker, you've got people that can play out wide. But I'm starting to believe, I don't know who it would be, but maybe we find someone that can play across the front 3 that could get us an X amount of goals. What would you make of that if that did happen in potential?
That's such an Arsenal under Mikel Arteta thing to do. Because I don't think Arteta bought Havertz to play a bit part role. Sorry, like I just don't. I think
you can't for 65 million.
100%. And I just don't think he's going to come in. He's going to stick his neck out and buy him and then drop him to the bench for somebody else. I just have this feeling in the back of my head that like, yeah, we're linked to these strikers and we could get one. But depending on how things, work out with Havertz from now until the end of the season, there could be like scope for bringing in like a versatile forward that can play on the wings on both sides and do it. And that's kind of the player that I was thinking of, Brahim Diaz or whatever, because I could totally see us doing that instead.
Did you make him as well while you're answering?
I mean, he looks great. Like he does. First of all, I like Real Madrid leftovers. So bring them here. I like them more than Man City leftovers at this point.
Those and the other guards of this
world.
world.
Like that's good food.
Should we throw Danny Ceballos into that as well? Or
well, yeah. So I think you would probably have to like bring him kicking and screaming because I feel like he'd be like one of those that doesn't want to leave, but he looks great.
Facts.
He looks like a good player. And we could use another Xavi Simons type. Somebody actually said that he would be kind of like a Foden type player, which I kind of see that. I wouldn't mind that.
I'll see it vaguely.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, yeah, I could see that, but that feels like because Arteta is not about to throw Jesus in the trash just yet, and he shouldn't. And he likes Havertz. So
what do you mean just yet though with Jesus? That sounds like a bit of shade for my Brazilian broski. What do you mean by that?
we're gonna play sell, keep, loan later.
Yeah,
and
we'll
can
play
talk
that,
about
but I just want to know, like, what does that mean about Gabriel Jesus? Because last time I checked, there's not many Premier League winners in that side. And last time I checked, you know, he sent that lot shop. He stood up to be counted against City. Yes, he's not a goal scorer and he's got a lot of injuries, but people are doing a bit too much with this Gabriel Jesus stuff.
We all know that there's a group of players that are probably untouchable, and there's probably only 4 of them. Everybody else,
I agree with that.
decent bid comes in. He's 20, 27, whatever. You got to look at it. But I'm not saying right
Decent
now.
bid for Jesus.
Hey,
I don't think we're going to have to fill that anytime soon, Jess.
no,
Man.
I don't think not right now, but that's why I'm saying, like, he's not going to throw him away just yet. I don't think he's on the list of, like, must move on this summer. But do I
envision not playing out wide?
Yeah, his role is probably going to decrease just slightly, and I feel like that's okay because
nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
I just can't imagine the knee. Like, I feel so bad because it's like that has to be so devastating. He played in like a dead rubber in the World Cup, and his knee just went.
Just ain't been the same since, man.
Yeah.
Like, to hear fluid on the knee, that sounds.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but bloody hell, that sounds.
That doesn't sound good at all. Yeah. So yeah.
Go on.
But I do like. I love Gabriel Jesus. Like, he's great.
Boy, that don't sound like someone that's getting much love from you, Jess, but fair enough. Tough love, tough love. What do you make of Thomas Partey not going off to Ghana? I big up my guy Rance in the cut as well.
You better not go to Ghana. Like, be serious. Him and Tomiyasu, it's kind of like you need to stay home. Be freaking for real. But you know, him, that doesn't mean that I don't think he's not gonna get another injury. Partey is so brittle, you know, so it's just one of those things where we just have to see what happens with him. But I do think that like his role at the moment is to step in for Jorginho so Jorginho can stay fit.
What do you make of Partey as well? Because there are some rumors, you know, all the rumors we see is that he's heading out the exit door. Some rumors say he's actually got a contract on the table that comes with bonuses if he's available. Would you keep him, or is it just he's gone? Because me, I'm like you. He needs to cut.
Bonuses if I would love to keep available. What?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
My word.
Easier said than done, man.
It's, you know, it just all depends. Like, do I actually think there's going to be a market for Partey? I think that that's something that people don't talk about a lot.
He'll run down his deal because we're not going to get no bread for him.
That's what I'm saying. I don't actually know if there's going to be a market for him. So, like, in theory, of course, I'd want to sell him on and move on. But he has 1 year left on his deal. He loves London. So
clearly
he's going to probably run his deal down, you know? And so as long as that doesn't hinder us from going out and doing what we need to do, then, you know, it is what it is. But his role needs to be so small that it's almost like, and Partey's there too. Like, not like,
that's harsh.
Like, yeah.
That's harsh.
Is it?
That's very harsh. Because I agree with how you're saying about Thomas Partey. I agree with what I think you mean. You're saying in that if we sign another midfielder, you've got Jorginho, you've got Declan Rice, whether Partey's there or not, it's just irrelevant. If he is a great quality player. But I do think you're downplaying his experience, his quality, and all of these things when fit. I don't think we can sit here and act like Partey. When fit, exactly. That's why I'm in agreement with you, because the man's not fit. But everybody fit at their best. Being devil's advocate, you could maybe argue he's our best central midfielder. Again, it's irrelevant if you're fit for 2 games a season, but I'm just being devil's advocate here.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying them injuries, like, are just, they're so frequent. Like, he hasn't played since September for real. You know, so we're talking about. I
couldn't tell you the last time I see Thomas Partey kick a ball fully fit, man. I just remember the City game and coming off the bench against Sheffield United or something like that. Either way, Smith.
Did people realize that this is his 4th season at Arsenal?
It's ridiculous.
4th season, 1 season he's played like almost the entire season, and he's still
for the league though.
At the end. So I'm kind of like, bro, like, let's just be serious for 5 seconds. People are like, you hate Partey. I don't.
He hates all the good players and rates the meaty ones, people, man.
Is Odegaard meaty?
I don't know if you rate Odegaard. I don't know. Odegaard's sick to me. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know if you rate Odegaard. I
anybody
don't
that
know
knows
if you
me
rate
for
him.
real knows I will run through a brick wall for Odegaard. Be serious for 5 seconds.
That's a funny way to say Kiwior. I
I
gotta
love
get them in.
Kiwior
I'll get to
too.
war in the next
He
stream,
like,
man.
we up. We wasn't like these other people. These other people over
She's
here
got a
that
crush
was
on
talking
Kiwior,
shit
man.
for no
Don't worry,
reason.
guys.
Oh, he's not good. Oh, he
I-
does. Oh, he this. Oh, he that. Now he's a starter.
Can I ask you a simple question, Jess? 2 questions.
No, not really.
No, see, that's not nice. Just let me ask you a question. Just let me. Why you be like that? Just let me ask you a
You're
question.
setting me up.
Just let me ask you a question, please. Just let me ask you a question. What, you're being rude to my guests? You know, I thought Arsenal content creators got to stick together. Can I just ask you a question?
Fine.
Have you got 2 ears?
What?
Yes or no? Have you got 2 ears?
No, I'm not playing this game.
Have you got 2 ears?
Sure.
Have you got 1 mouth?
Yeah.
So why don't we use that ratio correctly? What have I said about Kiwior? I've said he's a confidence man.
You hate him.
This is the thing. This is because I don't live in La La Land like this lady. Like, when have I said I hate Kiwior?
La La
I support
Land?
Arsenal Football Club. You're living in La La Land. Like, you're living in La La Land. Like, I like Kiwior. I want him to be good, so our team's great. I've always said he needs to be confident. He needs to be given time to adapt. He's doing that. He cannot do the inverted role right now. Arteta's changed his inverted role. I just want to know if everybody's fit, and I would love Kiwior to keep going so that this is a difficult question. When everybody's fit and you put a gun to Mikel Arteta's head, is Kiwior starting at centre-back or left-back? Now in time, he might. Right now, he's not. If that means I hate Kiwior, people, then I must really be deluded. That's crazy.
So when the comments are funny. When we first started talking about Kiwior, when I was like, oh, well, he needs more time to adapt. Yeah, but he just needs this. And I'm just like, listen, you didn't give him time to actually cook. Now,
I did. I did.
First of all, I let you speak.
Bring up the result. All right, let me be respectful to my elders. You're right. You should
respect your elders because
you're right. And she really is older than me, people. You can see it in the look.
Know what's going on.
Go on.
We know.
Auntie, go on.
Smart, okay?
Auntie, go on.
All I'm saying is that I did feel like there was an undercurrent of hate, and both of us,
Don't say both of us.
Well,
what hate?
Just as I know.
Hate's a strong word, darling. Hate is a strong word. Hate is a strong word.
Because you don't want to be on the wrong side of history, which you already are.
I don't mind. I care about Arsenal Football Club. You said Benjamin White was worse than Rob Holding. I could never be worse than that. You didn't even want Mikel Arteta, and now you're doing Vince how great he is. So I could never be worse than that. I want Arsenal to succeed.
Anybody that
knew what are you talking about? I was gassed when Kiwior signed. I'm just waiting to see more. I rate him. I've actually got a video coming out at 6 p.m. I want Kiwior to do well. I want good questions at this football club. I don't care about players individually beyond a certain point. I want Arsenal to get to the promised land. Now, if Kiwior can put pressure on Gabriel's spot or at left back or make either position his own, that's great. I just want to know, for all of these crazy accusations, got me feeling like like Benjamin White against Southgate. Wherever I said I hate him, where's underlying hate? Do you know what hate means? That's a strong word, That's a strong word. Hate.
And also
hate. Go on, talk.
Also, now why are you acting up? Why?
I'm listening because I can't believe this. But go on, I'm listening.
You don't have
2
to
ears,
say
1 mouth. I'm listening.
That you hate somebody for me to know that you hate him, and I get it because he's playing well now. And, as a content creator, you don't want to be on the wrong side of history. I get that.
Why would I not? I'm wrong all the time.
What?
I love being wrong. Just like Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola. If you're not wrong and you're not failing, you're not going to get anywhere. I don't care about being right. I'm not like you other YouTubers. I'm in a different league. I've never said anything bad with Kiwior. I've just said you look like a duck out of water. I like what Kiwior is doing now. You've come a long way from ducking out of headers, from playing around with your boot, from getting subbed at half time.
Oh my God.
You've come a long way. I like Kiwior.
No,
Polish international, been in Italy. Big up Kiwior. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't care about being right and wrong and all these things. And even if I was that, I just know you said Rob Holding is better than Benjamin White and you didn't believe in Mikel Arteta, so I could never be more wrong than that.
You know what's so funny? First of all, that was like 3 years ago, and I'm like the first one to say that was like my worst take, and I own that. But that's what you do when you're mature.
Oh,
When
we
you
definitely know you
grow,
are. We definitely
growth,
know you are, lady.
growth, and period. And I am. Okay.
I'm happy you said growth because Kiwior's growing. He's pause. He's improving, and that's what we want. Because you know
And you're
why? I care about Arsenal Football Club. The better the squad is, the more Arteta has headaches. Why would I not? I just want to know if Kiwior is going to be in the strongest lineup. Oh, that's great. I just don't know. I just need to know when Timber, Tomiyasu, and these men are fit. But hey, I think you're more solid of a defender than Zinchenko. But Zinchenko, for what he gives you in the inverted role, I don't know if Mikel Arteta will play Kiwior over that. I don't know if Mikel Arteta really wanted to have Benjamin White inverting off that right-hand side as good as he is. And I don't know if he'll persist with this with Kiwior. So keep going, Kiwior. Keep doing your thing. You're 24 years of age. You're growing with the squad. In your first full season, you're a quality player. You're showing your quality. The jury's still out because you did well against Liverpool. You haven't really been tested. But long may it continue. I didn't know that means I hate Kiwior. That's very simple. Crazy. Crazy.
And you know what? It's fine. I get it. I really do. And
You clearly don't get it.
I do. Okay. I get it. I totally get it. You're on him, and that's fine. That's
you don't.
fine.
I'm definitely not on no man, but I hear that. Keeping up the theme. Yeah. What do you make of this comment? Zinchenko, one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. Me, I think that's very harsh. But where are you at with that?
There's just certain players in our team where people only focus on what they can't do and never really talk about what they can do. And Zinchenko is one of those. I feel like he has a lot of great qualities, but because he's not the best defender, and honestly, because of some of his politics, I feel like
you got a lot of fanboys, man. Make sure you reply to your DMs, Jess, man. It's crazy, but go on.
People protecting me. That's right. I know that's right. Because this is my second home. You renting.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead. Thanks, guys. But yeah, like I just feel like nobody really focuses on the good parts of Zinchenko, and I think there are a lot of them. But I feel similarly about Zinchenko. I feel very similarly with Zinchenko and Tommy, where they're probably players that are best when they're used in certain circumstances, but probably aren't well-rounded enough to be starters all the time. And that's fine, but to pretend as though Zinchenko is not elite in a certain part of the game, I feel like is super disingenuous when
people are not going to hear what you just said then, and that's what's going to annoy me. Like elite in certain parts, like he's the poster boy of that inverted stuff. Now he's terrible defensively, as we both agree, but we can't act like he's not good. Like, and he's got a wealth of experience, really.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like with Zinchenko, if he's in kind of like my camp of if somebody were to come in with like a really really good bid, then but as far as like get him out the door, like some people are, I'm like, there's going to be games where you're going to need him, just like there's games where you're going to need Tommy, just like so. And I'm
she does know Arsenal sometimes.
I be knowing you guys in the chat. I be knowing, huh?
They're just breading, man. They're breading. They're just kissing up, man. You've got bare fanboys and all these things in the chat now, but you're bang on the money. I wanted to ask you, and you've probably been asked this a million times as well, like, do you think there's a reality Zinchenko could play that left 8 or a 10 or be somewhat of a squad player, or do you think Mikel Arteta is just not on that?
I just feel like now I want to see it. Like I would love to see it. Not now, not in the run-in, but I would love to see it. I just feel like there's a reason why Pep didn't really do it. Arteta doesn't really do it. There's something that they know that maybe I don't know. And maybe it's just there's something about, because I've asked this question several times, and people that are more like tactically astute were saying like he's better when he's arriving.
No, listen, I just know I'm going on to.
No. You know what? No,
I just know I'm going to go on your channel and you're going to give me hell. So I'm making the most of this. But I didn't even say nothing. Go on. I was listening. Something. I think the camera was acting. Like, what did you say? Like, we was listening.
So people that are more tactically astute that could explain it were saying that when he's arriving as the additional midfielder, it's better than when he's just like there already. And I can kind of see that. I feel like that's maybe also why Trent hasn't fully moved into that, because it's like they become the extra man and they're better in that role.
I agree.
But I would like to see it, but I feel like it would be in like a low stakes game, because one thing about Zinchenko, he lacks mobility and like
And he's going to
athleticism.
sleep defensively, man.
Yeah, there's just some things about him, but he could play maybe in the 10 role if we played in the 10 role, but like would I want him deep in midfield? No.
I'd love to see Odegaard in the 8, but I just think it's a weird one with Odegaard, because I think if you put Odegaard in the 8, you rob him of that play in the final third, but you give the team greater impetus. And I would like that, but I don't want to change that. And that's where, big up Tom Canton, because I was on his show, and again, me and you spoke about left 8s, and we're talking about strikers and all these things. There could be a reality for another number 10. I would love Fabio Vieira to bulk up and show his quality, but that's neither here nor there. I'm aware of, obviously, we're going on your platform soon, so I have 2 more questions for you. Kimmich, I can't not have you here and not speak about the Kimmich rumors. Where are you at with that? Would you be for it? A lot of people say he's old, he's 29, and where are you at with Kimmich?
I'm like, bring. I feel as though, again, like with the Gyökeres stuff, like there's like this obsession with having like an insanely young team, and I don't think there's enough emphasis or respect for experience, especially experience where you've actually won things before, not just been there, but actually been a key member. Yeah, like been a key member of a squad that's won major honors, and he has that. It depends on the fee. I feel like like 50 million or something. I get like some people are like, that's a lot for a 29-year-old. I'm like, first of all, 29 is not old if you take care of yourself. And if you look at his injury record, he's rarely injured.
And his game ain't relying on pace and all them things. So it's not really
exactly that. And he can do the inverted fullback role if you wanted to do that too. Like, I think that he would like complete the midfield in a way that we need. Because if you've watched Jorginho play, like you kind of know what we need. He can pick a pass. Right. He's not going to be afraid or like the temperament's there. The physicality is there. I like him, but, I feel like he would be a good answer to not being able to get like the Bruno Guimaraes or something like that, or, more experienced, more what we need for where we are now. Douglas Luiz, that's what we need. So I would take him like that, but I also I feel like sometimes Arsenal fans are like, yeah, but they're not doing well and Bayern are in the mud. I'm like, you're going to see when we play against them in the Champions League that these players are good.
They're going to be the Bayern on YouTube.
Let's be serious, so yeah, I'd love to have him.
I'm sure you've already spoken about this, but what do you make of, we've been linked with 2 Brazilians, actually. We've been linked with Nottingham Forest's Murilo, who apparently they need to sell players. He's drawing interest from Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Barcelona, and Paris Saint-Germain. And we've been linked with someone that I know you're a big fan of, in Rafinha. Where are you at with those 2 players?
I don't care about this Murillo person. I'll be so honest with you. I just, I saw the link and I was just like, how boring. Like, no. I don't care. Is it I don't know. It's just like everybody knows the center back that I want is Diamande, and I know we're not going to get him. And that's going to I feel like that's what we need if we're going to get a center back. This guy is short and stocky, and no. Rafinha, honestly, the ship has sailed as far as I'm concerned.
Tell him again.
You picked your poison, and last time I seen him play for Brazil, as much as people were talking about Martinelli, I was like, did you see him?
I'd rather an injury-prone Neto than Rafinha, the current Rafinha I'm seeing, to be honest with you.
I agree. I feel like he should have stayed in the Prem, and he went to Barcelona, and he's realizing that the 16-year-olds that they have coming through their academy are leagues above him, and now at 29, he wants to come back to us. Stay there or go to Tottenham.
Amen on that one, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Amen on that one, if I'm completely honest with you. Jess, obviously, I know we're heading over to your channel. Let people know where they can find you and all that good stuff. I'm about to go into the Lions Den, people, and the smile's about to be taken off my face, but we do this.
Guys, Maybe? If you want to see a cooking, a barbecuing.
Whoa. I don't know about that. Whoa.
If you want to see DT get cooked, no, I'm just joking. We're about to go live with Gooner. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys can just put in She Knows Arsenal in the search bar and YouTube, and you guys will see me there. And we'll be live in about 10 minutes. So come on over.
There we have it, man. And obviously, Jess, appreciative. You know, you're a good sport. We have a great laugh and whatnot. So yeah, into the Lions, then we go. But yeah, smash the like button, subscribe, people. Make sure you're following Jess on her platforms. Again, all you have to do is click the link and you can subscribe. I can't imagine you're not. And we'll see you lot again soon. But for now, people, we're out. Peace.
There's always just that active red line. Defenders have been given like